welcome. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are shifting gears into spring. We're coming up to the spring equinox, and this time it's about balance, but it's really about renewal and rebirth. That light is really coming back to us now. And we've come out of the dark season, and the dark season certainly has its place where it invites us to go within, doing that work that Mary Magdalene did with the 7 powers, going in and facing those parts of ourselves that don't serve us, that maybe we're not initially aware of, that are driving our life in ways that we don't want them to. And that dark season really gives us a chance to go deep with that work. You can do that work at any time, but it's a good time when it's dark outside and maybe you're not doing as much out and about, and you can sit in the still and the quiet and the darkness and do that very powerful work. But this time of year where the light is returning, the bird song is returning, the bird song is so glorious to me. And the skies are blue and purple and pink, and it's just really an invitation to rebirth ourselves. You know, all that work that we've done in the dark season, uncovering these parts of ourselves, healing, and then this time of year is really an invitation to embrace that energized feeling that we have when we face some of our demons, when we've had realizations. And it's time as well to step back from maybe some more difficult work that we've been doing and allow ourselves to rest for a while with that work. So with that in mind, what I would like to do is pull a card for us from the Mary Magdalene Oracle by Megan Watterson and see what message Mary Magdalene has for us as a collective as we move into this very different energy. What does Mary Magdalene have to guide us at this time? So I've had this card before in a message on this channel for Mary Magdalene. Testimony: love is stronger than death. And we have the image of the egg, which is very appropriate for this spring time. And I remember last time that I told that story of, it's kind of a legend of Mary Magdalene goes to the court of Tiberius to proclaim that Jesus has risen. And Tiberius says there's more chance of that egg turning red in your hand than there is of Jesus having come back to life. And the egg immediately turns red. And this testimony of love being stronger than death. And at this time right now in the world, we have a lot of difficult, harmful, tragic, painful things going on in the world on a collective level. And we might also have that in our personal lives as well, personal things that are going on. But certainly on a global scale, what we can see that's happening around the world in terms of war and genocide and certain policies that may be being enacted that might be harmful, we can see that it looks pretty bleak, it looks pretty bad right now. And actually, I was having this conversation with someone who watches my channel about when these things happen, when it looks so bad, when it looks so hopeless, sometimes that is what is needed to wake people up to what is going on. Because if things sort of fly under the radar, they're insidious, it's harder for people who are not as in tune with the energies, not as in tune with what's going on. It's harder for them to see the destruction that's being brought on the ordinary person by the people who have control over this world that we live in. But when they come out and they really show themselves, that is when it's not just the people who are awake that see it, it's the people, it's everybody else can then see, this is what is happening. Like, hang on a minute, what is this? And sometimes we need that darkness to really show itself so that we can start pushing the pendulum back. But with this being a message of spring and the equinox and balance, we have to be careful that what we're not doing is just pushing the pendulum so far in the other direction, because sometimes with liberal movements, there can be this idea that, well, everybody gets to have everything that they want, but it becomes on a very individual level. So it becomes like, well, I want this, and we're liberated and I should get what I want. But what they don't see is that what they want is at the detriment of many, many other people. And so even swinging back completely the other way is not the answer. It's about balance. It's about finding that balance and holding in love, and having these conversations with people in a very measured, very balanced way to explain maybe to people that can't see why these things are not going to be good down the line. And being measured in our approach, because again, like Mary Magdalene in her gospel, when she's met with conflict from Peter and Andrew, she doesn't start accusing them. She doesn't start saying, well, why is your way right? Well, who gives you the... She just says, I haven't made this up from my heart. This is the truth. And that's when we stand in love, when we stand in integrity, when we know we're speaking truth. We don't have to shout, we don't have to scream, we don't have to be violent. And when more of us wake up to this way, this path of love, and we stand together and we stay strong in love and in integrity, we stand so much stronger than those who are trying to bait us. You know, there's so much of that that goes on in the media and a collective level, but maybe in your personal life, maybe you can think of some times when someone's pushing those buttons and they're saying, oh, well, they said this, or, oh, well, you know, remember when you did that and that wasn't a very good thing, and they're trying to bait you. But what we do is we stay in our integrity and we say we know the truth. And especially when our message is perhaps coming from a more spiritual place, coming from a place where other people are not awake to, and it can feel a bit daunting to stand in that and to follow that truth. Because if you notice on the card, it kind of looks like the men are looking like, huh? What are you talking about? Are you crazy? What are you saying? But Mary's face is just very, very stoic. It's just very, this is the truth. Look, this is the truth. And she knows her truth. She knows she's standing in integrity. And, you know, this is another thing on the path, this path of basically divine love, right? Of realizing, not realizing intellectually, but knowing that we are loved by the divine and that we are a facet of the divine. When you know that, it really just doesn't matter what anyone else says, because who is more important than the divine? Who has more authority? When you experience that divine union, there's nothing really quite like it. And this is what awakening is. And so when you experience that, somebody sort of judging you superficially, it just doesn't really matter. But again, with this message of balance, we see also what can be really easy to do is when we start coming to this work and we start realizing our divine nature, some people, that can really inflate their ego, and it can become like, you know, this idea that I am God, you know, which is, yes, we are, but not in the kind of, you know, the sense that we caricature the gods, like, all hail me, I am a god, I can't be wrong, I'm right. We're fully human and we're fully divine. Again, that message in the gospel. We're fully human and we're fully divine, and we're always checking ourselves, that balance between, is this my ego or is this coming from my divine self? Always checking in. So having your practices, you know, that the most simple practice you can do is meditation, is sitting silently, or prayer. And prayer doesn't have to be the prayer that we learn, you know, maybe if you went to like a Catholic school or church with your family. It doesn't have to be that kind of prayer. It's just speaking to the divine and opening yourself to the divine and letting the divine in. I mean, the divine is already within us, but when we start with this work, it can sometimes be helpful to think of it as like the divine is coming in, but really the divine is being allowed out to express itself through you. Just saying, I am open to you, divine source, to goddess, however you see the divine, whoever it is. I'm open to you. I open myself to you. And that is the most effective practice that you can do. There are lots of, you know, there are lots of rituals. There's lots of attempts to these, like, you know, anointing and yoni work and all these things. And these can all be great. But one of the most effective things you can do to awaken your divine nature is to just sit still and listen and allow the divine, allow yourself to hear the divine. Checking in always, is my ego, is it the divine? So at this time of year, this message from Mary Magdalene, love is stronger than death. Testimony. Right now at this time, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're really being invited to step into love. The sunshine, the bird song, being out in nature, seeing how the divine is expressing itself through nature. And it doesn't stop to question. Does the flower stop to say, oh, is it okay if I bloom right now? Is that okay? It doesn't do that. The divine just comes straight out through it. Birds, they don't stop to think, should I make this noise right now? They just sing. And the divine is expressed through them. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, this is a time to give yourself so much love as you go into that darker phase, to bring so much love and consciousness to that work, to whatever comes up, to say, I am fully human, I am fully divine. Whatever comes up, the divine is working through me, the divine is with me. So we're really being invited to step into that energy of love and knowing that if we stand in love, if we stand in our authenticity, that love is stronger than death. And, you know, we are in a system right now that we can see things collapsing, we can see things dying, and it's easy to get caught up and afraid of that death. Oh no, what change? What happens if change? What happens if this? But love, if we carry the light of love forward with us, and we watch and we nurse that system as it dies, and we hold the light of love and integrity, love is stronger than death. The love, the light will continue to be carried through, and what needs to die will die. And sometimes we have to allow that darkness to show itself for what it is, so that it is compelled to die, and that we can carry the light and the love through into the new earth. If you haven't seen my video on New Earth, I will try and remember to link it, where I talk about what is New Earth, how do we get there, that New Earth is already within us. It's about bringing it outside of ourselves. So carry that light of love with you and express it in whatever way. This is my way of expressing. Your way might be through art, it might be through writing, it might be through having conversations with people, it might be through volunteer work, whatever it is. Allow the divine in, and then allow it to express itself through you, because it is you. So whatever your plans might be for this spring equinox, I hope that you have a wonderful time. And I hope this message has been illuminating for you. Thank you so much for being with me. There are links below to all kinds of ways that you can get more resources. Thank you so much for being with me. Many blessings.